As we continue in the series on relationship and seeing that the entire gospel is about relationship, because God is a relational God. And so everything that we see in this is he tells us things that relate, that deal with how we relate with one another, how we relate with other people. You know, when we can go back and we can look at some of the things we've looked at, to owe no one anything but to love them. And that means also that no one owes me anything. It's about being love. It's the expression of the very nature, the character of God, being love. And when we get that, we see that some of the things that we're told about relationships, specifically a marriage relationship, oh, the husband is the head. Yes, the husband's the head, according to Paul. The wife is to submit. Yes, she is supposed to. But that does not negate the fact that being the head does not mean being in charge. It means being the leader, the one to go first. And the husband is called out because Adam, from the beginning in the garden, he wasn't deceived. Eve was deceived. He wasn't. And so he's being called, we are men being called to go first, to be Christ-like, to regain what Adam lost. And the submission part is not just something for wives, for women. This is something that's for everyone. He says in Ephesians 5, submitting one to another. And I truly, when we look at that, we see that all authority, that this is truth, this is the life, the word of God. And we submit and we yield to that because that's wisdom. That's wisdom. And so anytime that if I refuse to submit to the very will, the very truth, the very word, the very character and nature of God, whomever it is displayed in, then I'm making a mistake and I'm standing in opposition and I'm out of order. So this thing about being submissive is to submit to truth. That's why he says, as unto the Lord. Because when I manifest Christ, yes, my wife yields to that. When my wife manifests Christ, I submit to that. And it should be that way in every relationship, friendships, siblings, cousins, extended, whatever. It's about how we relate to one another, and it's about mutual submission. It's about serving and giving, going first, being the head at all times for all of us, and being submitted at all times. It's not a hierarchy. It's not somebody's in charge. You know, people want to say, well, two can't walk together unless they be agreed. But that doesn't mean that one has to be in charge, because then there's not necessity for agreement. Agreement is that we actually come to an understanding together. And if I'm the one that's in charge, then we don't have to negotiate. We don't have to reason our way through it. You just have to do what I say. And that's not coming to an agreement. So there's a principle even in that. We're going to look at one little thing here in 1 Peter 3. 1 Peter 3, the Apostle Peter, first in verse 1, he talks to wives. But we're going to look in verse 7. He talks with one verse to husbands. And there's a principle in this that's really good. He says to husbands, likewise, and this likewise relates all the way back into chapter 2, and he's talking about Jesus. So he says, husbands, you also to be like Jesus. He told the wives, be like Jesus. Now he's telling the husbands as well. This is it. Husbands, likewise. And because it's a likewise, it applies not just to a husband. It applies to everyone. Likewise. And we can develop that at some point in the future. He says, dwell with them. That's with their wives or other people. It's about relationship again. So it's about all people. Dwell with them with understanding. So the Apostle Peter is saying that, men, you can understand your wife, and you should be seeking to understand. And the challenge is in their culture, we say, oh, you can't understand women. That's a lazy man's excuse. Because here we're being told to dwell with her with understanding, meaning I can understand. And then he goes on. This is just real quick here. He says, giving honor to the wife. And as we looked at last time on Wednesday, giving honor is a principle. We give more honor to that which we think is less than. So when he tells the husband, dwell with her with understanding, giving her honor, give her more honor. You may think and feel that she's not worth it. You're wrong. Give her more honor. He says, as to the weaker vessel. And weaker doesn't mean that she's weaker, but if you think she's weaker, give her more honor. That's the principle from 1 Corinthians that we read last time, 1 Corinthians 12. But it also could be translated as like fine china, something that's delicate and needs to be treated with more care. That's what we do. That's how we approach this. And as being heirs together of the grace of life, he's telling us that we are heirs together, that I am not more than she is not more than I am. We meet as equals, and that's true in every relationship. And when we insert some superiority notion, we interrupt relationship. Relationship is about being love, and being love is submitting, yielding, leading, doing things for the benefit of the other, not for myself. It's not selfish. It is unselfish and giving. That's what love is. And that's what relationship is all about. Being love.